How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here, and we're doing Stream of Stories podcast live. Never done this before. This is be very interesting. Hope everyone's doing good. I've got Snooky Shogun in the green screen. Hi, Eternize. Hi, Wee Sub. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us. Shall we get him on? I'm not really good at putting people out of their misery, so let's just do it. Let's do it. Here he is. There he is. Look at that handsome.
Yo.
How are you
What
doing?
is going on? How are we doing? Johnny, you beautiful, beautiful man.
No, you.
I just want to go and stroke that beautiful beard.
Oh.
I just want to stroke your beautiful beard, mate.
Have it.
Oof. Come on, give to Bampy. Give to Bampy.
Very different vibes from doing this off live, you know. But I can't do this with you. We've got to do this our way.
We got to do this. Hey, man, I am like completely humbled and honoured for you to have asked me to do this. I've been watching your Streamer Stories podcasts on YouTube. I've watched them all. There's been people that I already know that you've spoken to, and then there's been people I didn't know. So just seeing you chatting to all different kinds of streamers, getting to know their different ways of life, or what got them into gaming, what got them into streaming, sort of thing. It's just really interesting.
Absolutely,
really interesting. So that's what I'm loving about it, man. So that's why I'm kind of honoured, and I maybe did drop the odd hint here and there. It's like, these Streamer Stories podcasts, no, you know, what's your future plans?
Yeah, 100%, man. And as I said to you before, you were definitely on the list. And then when we had the sub, I can't believe we hit like 77 subs on my September, man. And then I think it was 60 subs, he was like, "Got to do it live." I was like, well, we've had this person hinting, and he's definitely on the list. And I was like,
"You're killing it.
We gotta have him on live. We gotta do this live."
You're absolutely killing it, man. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm just really grateful. You thought of me and asked me. I really appreciate it, man. It's a massive honour, and obviously, you know, we collaborated before, so it's nice to be chatting to you again.
Definitely, man, definitely. Right, so I suppose in terms of what we're going to do tonight, because normally obviously I will reel off questions and then we just chat, but it's a bit different. We've got a different vibe going on. Obviously this is live, we've got people in the chat, so what I was thinking of doing, maybe we'll mix it up a bit. You know, I don't know if we'll get through everyone's questions, but maybe once in a while we'll throw in a question from people in the chat, see what they say, and see how it goes.
Yeah, and I've got your stream up as well, so I can obviously see the comments and everything. So, you know, I can see a few of my regulars in there as well. Wii U, Tim Panic, Yuki, Sammy, welcoming. Thank you so much for jumping in and supporting your boy and checking out the amazing Johnny Beard.
Sido's saying I need to turn myself up. I can't. I'm on maximum volume here, so I've had to turn Snooky down. Boo! I don't want to do that.
Let me. I can turn myself down. That's no problem whatsoever. I can have a look at that.
Well, I'll turn you up. You turn you down.
Hey, if you turn me anything, it's turn me on, baby.
Oof.
Right, output volume. I can turn that down a bit. How's that sounding for the chat now? Is that doing anything? Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. I pressed the wrong one. Is that doing anything for you guys?
It's a bit quieter on my end, but I mean, I've got my headphones on, so I don't know. Hopefully,
I've turned my input down to 75%. It was on 100%, so maybe that's why it was a bit loud.
Eternai says that's good, so let's do it.
And yes, I see he's a fan of Ice 9 Kills. Yeah, let me just show the tea.
Nice. That's a cool shirt. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's their new album that they got coming out. So I literally had that yesterday.
Nice.
So yeah.
Awesome stuff. Right, okay. Let's do this, man. Let's do this.
Okay.
So first question, as always, is tell us about the first memories you have of playing a video game.
First memories of playing a video game. So the first time I can remember is probably over my dad's house. He had an old Dell computer, and I remember him showing me Doom 2.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know what really a video game was. I think I got an older brother who was 10 years older than me, and I think I was quite a destructive child, so he didn't really let me around too many of his game consoles or anything like that. So my dad's old PC, and we run Doom 2 on DOS, and I saw him playing it. I was a bit too young to understand how it actually worked, you know, what I was supposed to do. All I know, it was a guy shooting people. I was like, oh, this is cool, shooting monsters, you know, stuff like that. And it was in its original box. It had a manual. So while my dad was playing, I was reading through the manual, and kind of, it was very it was a really humorous manual. It was kind of very tongue in cheek, you know, sort of. I can't remember any of the quotes, but if you can get a copy of it at some point, I'd definitely recommend checking out. Just very full of doom humor, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, of
And
course.
you had like all descriptions of the monsters, the different weapons, and yeah, it just kind of explained a bit of the lore of the game as well, and it was just beautifully illustrated. And he did eventually show me how to play the game a little bit,
Hmm.
which I kind of got the basics, you know, sort of walking around, shooting things. I don't think I got too far. He showed me, you know, the whole revolutionary thing of saving your game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, saving your game. What? So you can play a game, and then you go back to it once you stop playing it, and at the same part. I was like, oh, awesome. So I ended up playing it, getting to a point in the level, dying, and I thought, well, I'm going to stop playing now, so I might as well save. So my dad picked me up the next time. He was like, yes, well done. You grasped the whole saving process, but you saved when you died, so I had to start from the beginning anyway. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I kind of half nailed the whole thing there.
But the thing
But
is
yeah,
about
Doom 2, man.
what you just said there, it was funny because obviously there'll be people that have played games that are probably, dare I say, older than us, or certainly older than yourself. So I think I'm probably older than you. That don't obviously remember the concept of saving, because saving was obviously a '90s thing, wasn't it? So
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
much. And I mean, Doom 2 is the one that I can kind of, you know, remember. There were probably other games. Like I remember there was a game on the Commodore. Don't ask me which Commodore system it was. And I think it may have been a Jaws game or something. I know there was a shark and you were like sort of swimming at the bottom and you had to shoot up. It's a very, very old retro game. I always say it was called Jaws. It may or may not have been Jaws. And also, my dad also had some text-based games. So he had a Gremlins game
Oh, okay,
where it
yeah.
was all text-based, and that was interesting. That was really interesting. I didn't know what was going on,
Hmm.
but yeah, from a very early age, I was exposed to video games. So it's always kind of attracted me to that sort of fandom, that sort of you know, type of media.
Yeah, yeah. No, I did also have, like, I don't even know if it was a DOS or anything like that, but I remember at one point my granddad gave me like floppy disks and these like text-based games, stuff like that as well. So
Yeah.
I kind of had a similar upbringing in that respect, but I couldn't even tell you. I think it was a Wheel of Fortune game. That's all I could totally tell you. But
Wow.
I remember,
I would be interested to try one of them now, just to see like what they're like, because I remember seeing them, but you know, I wonder what they were like for back in the day when they were state of the art. You know what I mean?
definitely. So Doom 2, that's a really interesting beginning. That, especially if so you were a child at the time. So again, obviously that's like an 18 plus game, isn't it? So
Yeah.
was there no filter between like parenting and adult games and stuff like that? Because there was little of it in my childhood, to be honest. But what about yourself?
No, not particularly. I mean, I kind of understood that it was not real. Like you could see, like even though you look at some of those games and think, "Whoa, the graphics are amazing," you could. I knew it wasn't real. Like I knew it was just, you know, going around shooting monsters. But it did have a little bit of creepiness to it, especially I believe on the DOS version. I could be wrong, or whether it was my dad's computer. But there was no music. There was only sound effects. So it didn't have any of the MIDI sound effects on my dad's computer, at least. So that kind of added a bit of atmosphere to it. But no, I remember watching Nightmare on Elm Street when I was probably a bit too young to watch it. RoboCop, I used to be obsessed with when I was a kid, and that's a gory film. RoboCop, I don't think people realize how gory that film is, and I think having a brother who was 10 years older than me, I wasn't allowed anywhere near his games consoles, but he had a video cabinet and it was full of all the horror films. And that's like entering a completely different sort of like conversation in terms of my love for horror movies and movies in general. So yeah, I think there was kind of a bit more relaxed on my dad, with my dad and my brother. My mum was a bit more strict. But I'd go with my dad's every fortnight and I'd either play Doom or we go to the video shop and rent a taper at like Dawn of the Dead or, you know, Reanimator or something like that. It was, you know, that was kind of, I was brought up on horror and sort of scary stuff, really.
Excellent. So what followed then from like the PC DOS? So did you continue with PC? Did you go get consoles eventually? What direction came after that?
So ironically, after my first sort of, you know, taste of gaming, I didn't touch a PC game ever again until like very recently. I tell a lie. Like, so here's how it went. I had my first console of my own, which was a Super Nintendo.
All right.
back in the 90s. And I had, as you can imagine, like the classics. I had like the Super Mario All Stars. What else did I have? Donkey Kong Country. Um, Link to the Past, which I didn't know how to play at the time because that was probably a little bit too complicated for my young brain at the time. Killer Instinct, I used to love that game. That was a brilliant fighting game. I'm not much of a fighting game person, but that game was great. I did inherit my brother's Sega Mega Drive at one point, so then I went into games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe.
Nice. Yes.
And then kind of a bit backwards, but we have we had the NES as well, which I think may have been in storage in the attic or something, and it was kind of dug out a little bit later on. But we had some great games with the NES. I'm talking, I was probably about 6 or 7 when I played these for the first time, maybe a little bit younger. So we had all the Mario games on there, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. I remember there was a Mission Impossible game on there which I didn't know how to play. Chip and Dale, which is a really good game. DuckTales, those are games that I grew up playing on the NES. So it was a kind of starting with SNES and then Mega Drive and then NES really.
So yeah, you had an eclectic console and game base. Then there's no like direction in terms of genres that you went to. That's really cool.
Pretty much, yeah. I did get a PC when I was probably about 11 or 12, but it was a very sort of a bog basic PC. It wasn't connected to the internet or anything like that. It was mainly just so I could use Word on it and print stuff off. But it did play games. It did play certain games, and the only one game I can remember playing on it was Warcraft 2.
Right.
It was either, I can't remember what the subtitle was. Was it Tides of Evil or Tides or something? It had Tides in it. I know what it's called. I know that was it. But Warcraft 2, it was a lot of fun, like a kind of RTS game. That was a lot of fun. Which is ironic though, because I never played World of Warcraft or anything like that. So my only taste of Warcraft is Warcraft 2. But yeah, mainly console gaming until recently when I started streaming the last 6 months or so.
Wow. Okay. So you had SNES, NES, Mega Drive. So then, what bounced from there? Was it PlayStation? Did you go to Nintendo 64 or something else?
So it was PlayStation. Because my stepbrother, who lived with me, he had the N64. So like the one Christmas I had a PS1, he had the N64, and we kind of just shared. So yeah, I remember the PS1 being quite nostalgic for me, and then it was PS1. But I had most of the consoles, to be fair, as I was growing up. If I didn't have one Christmas, I'd probably have it the next Christmas. I was quite fortunate in that sense. I think one of the consoles that I didn't have growing up was the Dreamcast, but that was sort of one of the consoles that I'd either go over my cousin's house to play, but then it didn't really sort of last very long. I never had a Sega Saturn. I'd never played a Sega Saturn in my entire life, and I didn't have any like the older Atari consoles. And I've never been much of a handheld gamer either. I played Pokemon. No, I played Pokemon on the original Game Boy. And that was about it. Oh, and Pokemon Pinball.
Yeah.
I think literally Pokemon is the extent of my handheld gaming knowledge.
Wow. So you played games with a lot of family members then, didn't you, really? So have you got any stories of you playing games with that you like? Sorry, get my tongue in. Any video game stories of you growing up that you'd like to talk about? Anything that comes to mind?
So sort of in terms of growing up playing games with people, like, I mean, my dad introduced me into Doom, but he couldn't really play the games himself. Myself and my stepbrother, we were more sort of, we play games separately. We play more single player games. I've never really been much of an online gamer. I've always been that gamer who would prefer to be told a story in a game. So whether it be an RPG or like an action adventure game, it's very, very rare that I've played games online against other people.
Yeah.
But when the Xbox 360 was in its heyday, there were quite a few games that were a lot of fun to co-op and system link. So a lot of times, myself, and depending on the game, we'd either have a co-op 2 players, or we'd have 4 players. So either the Halo games we play co-op. Gears of War was a lot of fun, and there were times where we'd have 2 TVs, 2 consoles, all connected by system link cable, and either end of the room, and we kind of have like a settee or a chair on either side, playing the games, just throwing banter at each other, just having an absolute laugh. I think that's probably when we were teenagers. One of my good friends from school had quite a big house, and his bedroom was huge, and you'd fit tons, and he'd fit my bedroom in there at the time, in there about 3 times. So yeah, that's kind of what we did. And I remember one of the memories in particular. I got a couple actually, but one of the memories in particular, we were playing Halo 3. So we must have been in high school, and I'd recently broken my hand, and Halo 3 hadn't long come out, and I was desperate to play this game, especially co-op, because the hours would just fly by. We just lose ourselves in playing Halo 3. And I thought, right, I can't just not play this game. I'm going to attempt this. So I attempted to play Halo 3 with my cast on, and I did a pretty good job. I was, we got through the game. 6 hours later, we decided to stop playing. My hand, I tell no word of a lie, was like a football. It was just so swollen. It was out there. It was worth it. It was worth it every. But like in terms of like one memory that sticks with me as well, like a really like it was funny at the time. I'm not going to be able to explain it and do it justice. But it kind of just sums up my sense of humor. So we were playing a game called Army of Two on the Xbox 360. I don't know if you ever played it.
I think I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. No.
It was kind of like Gears of War sort of rip-off. It was kind of the tactical shooting co-op game, and there was a mission in it. I could be like very much misquoting or getting this wrong, but there was a mission where there's a character or some kind of NPC you've got to look after or escort, and he's at one point. I think when you finished the scene or finished the action, you have to do something, open a door or something. And this character is sat down, he's against a wall, and he's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Oh, hang on. I've just unplugged myself.
I can hear you, don't worry. I don't know if you can hear me.
He's,
Here you go.
Here you go. Let me just go back on there.
Got an Army of Two fan in chat, by the way. Yuki's a fan of Army of Two.
Yeah, Army of Two, man. Army of Two. It's a hell of a game. So he was like kind of like his knee like that. I don't know if you can still see me. And he was like this. And his like sort of legs were parted. I don't know if you can feel where this is going. There was a dead character. There was a dead enemy lying face down on the floor. And imagine this is his dead body. This is his head. And this is his legs. And he glitched. And so basically his head was doing this. Like that. So what we did was we picked up the character and we put him over to the NPC who we were meant to be protecting. As you can imagine, this guy's sitting there with his legs wide open, sat down, and he's like this. And we got this NPC right on his nuts going. Man, I tell you what, I probably don't do it justice, but we were creased. We were absolutely just demolished by that. And every time we saw each other from that moment, we just remember that bit of the game, and it's one of those things you probably never be able to recreate. I wish we could have like recorded it back in the day. But yeah,
definitely. Again, you could do that now, can't you? Just a click of a button. But yeah, just one gen away. Where if it happened this gen, you'd have been fine. Oh man.
Ooh, D-Mac's here. D-Mac, hello, 3 sexy boys in the stream.
Pirate. Oh yeah. Right. So if you had to choose one video game that is your favorite of all time, what would it be and why?
Resident Evil Remake.
Yeah,
that's
no hesitation.
That's the one that I always say is my absolute favorite. Resident Evil is a really important part of my life. It's kind of always stuck with me since I first started playing it. And yeah, I remember loving the first Resident Evil game, not quite as much as RE2 OG, the original RE2. But I loved RE3 as well, Nemesis. But RE1 was good. It was like I loved it, but it was very kind of dated when I played it. So when RE1 Remake came out, it just expanded on everything. It just made the original. It did everything that made the original great.
Yeah.
It looked great. It handled perfectly. It had so much atmosphere, and it just added so much more content as well. And it's one of those games I could go back to all the time and keep playing. Like I play it recently. Like I played it recently on the stream, and it just never gets old. It's one of those for me that I can just keep going back to, and that's for me what makes a game important to me.
100%. I mean, you mentioned Resident Evil. We got. Let's go back to the beginning. So, what was your first Resident Evil, and what was your thoughts going into that one for the first time? Because it's normally an eye opener for any gamer normally. So
I'd heard a lot about Resident Evil 2 and how scary it was, and I was quite immune to horror films and stuff like that. But horror games, my sort of thought process on it was, you know, in a horror movie, it's kind of already predestined what's going to happen.
mhm.
You know, the film has got a start and an end. You can just watch it. But in the game, I actually control this character,
Yeah.
you know, and if something scary is going to happen to this character, it's going to be me who's going to get me out of it. So, you know, that kind of was quite a frightening thought for me. That's how my mind worked with it. I heard a lot about Resident Evil. People in school were talking about it, and it did gain a little bit of notoriety. So I remember kind of half jokingly putting her on my Christmas list one year, Resident Evil 2. I thought, my mum's not going to buy that for me. She knows that it's, it's too scary and too, just too nasty for me to have. Lo and behold, Christmas morning, I have Resident Evil 2. I'm like, oh my God. I actually didn't play it myself. I didn't actually play it myself. I got my stepbrother to play it, and I watched him play it because I was too frightened to play it. I eventually got over my phobias and played it and loved it.
Yeah.
It gave me nightmares and traumatized me for life, but I loved it.
What was the scary moments that got you then? You first playing
Right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right at the very beginning when you're dumped into the streets.
Yeah.
You know, that game throws you in the deep end.
Yeah.
You know, you think, okay, this you're in a city, and like I was massively into zombie movies back in the day. I loved the George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and I loved them, but they scared me. They were like, they got under my skin, the whole thought of being overrun by zombies, being eaten alive, all that thing. So when Resident Evil 2 starts and you're like right in the middle of this street with loads of zombies around you, and of course the tank controls taking a little bit of a while to get used to. Naturally, I think most people playing that game for the very first time have probably died in that first section of Resident Evil 2.
I did, yeah.
So I must have looked at it wrong, or I kind of looking behind like my fingers or something, because I was adamant for years that a zombie had attacked me, like while I was in danger in the game, had bitten me and had taken my arm off and ripped my arm off in the game. It just so happens that that's not what happened. I convinced myself that's what it was, but when certain zombies grab you, sometimes their limbs latch onto you. But I thought that my character's limb had fallen off, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, am I going to go through the entire game now with only one arm? That's literally my thought process around it. But yeah, it was a terrifying experience. It gave me nightmares, but I don't know. At some point, I just got past it, and I decided to play it properly and actually get into the game and realize how great a game it is. And saw it for what it actually really, really was. But yeah, that had a massive effect on me.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2, more so than any game.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because I think that should be a game concept. Why is that not a real life game now? That
well, where you lose your limbs.
If you lose your limbs, or like maybe you have one health bar, and then if you get someone bites you in the arm or something like that's permanently there or something like that, and maybe you can chop your limb. I think that should be a great idea.
I imagine the way that the modding community is in Resident Evil as well. Someone could probably make that, and then that would just be like me revisiting my childhood nightmares all over again.
Let's not start on mods. There's so many amazing ones out there.
Jeez.
That's true.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah.
So what are you playing right now? What games are you playing right now?
So off stream, I was playing Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, the remaster. I finished that a couple of weeks ago. I don't tend to play a lot offline at the moment, just because if it's a game that I want to play, I tend to play it on stream now. But I started playing a game called, I think it's Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh,
I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I like the look of it, kind of... it looked really interesting as quite a cool concept. So I'm playing that at the moment. And then on stream, it's your typical Resident Evils, Silent Hills, Dead Space. I play a lot of survival horror. So Dead Space Impossible mode I'm going to be doing, because we recently did Dead Space Hardcore, which was intense. So I got Dead Space Impossible mode coming up, finishing off Silent Hill 3. And then Resident Evil marathon at some point this week, Saturday, I think, doing the OG trilogy back to back. So yeah, that's kind of my life, what I'm playing. I have got a few things in the pipeline that I want to get to, but that's what it is at the moment.
So that was something I was going to ask you, was how many games do you play offline compared to online? But you obviously answered that. So it's because of streaming, you tend to play them now online, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at the same time as well, it all depends what is out at the time. So, I'm quite like the older I'm getting, the more particular I am about what games I play because I don't want to sink a load of hours into a game that is just gonna not be great or not. Like, is gonna I feel like waste my time if you get what I mean. I know Zelda is always a safe option. I'll always enjoy playing Zelda. I didn't stream Zelda because at the time it was sort of not what I was going with on my channel in terms of I'm going for more of a survival horror sort of niche, if you like. But and same with the Kena Bridge of Spirits. But like for some reason I decided to stream Ratchet and Clank, and that was a great success playing Ratchet and Clank on stream at one point. So yeah, it's it all depends on the games, whether I think they'll be good on stream, whether I want to play them on stream. Because another thing you got to consider, I don't know whether it's the same for you, but for me in particular, if I'm streaming, I'm focusing on the game, but my concentration on the game is sort of like, divided between, the chat and the game.
Yeah.
So, it's probably like kind of more of a rougher gameplay, I might not be at my best or might not explore everything. So yeah, some games I think are best enjoyed, just have a bit of chill time, have, a bit of time to yourself and play a good game. And that's probably what it is with this Kena game that I'm playing at the moment.
Excellent. Got some Zelda hype there from Gemma Jinx. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Gemma.
Gemma wants me to play Zelda on stream. I will one day, Gem. I promise. I promise we will get to Zelda.
Yuki said she's got the same he or she's got the same mindset with horror and games. About
pretty much
the fact that it's in your control, isn't it, in the game, whereas it's not that way in a film.
Yuki is literally like my German twin. We is like just identical, pretty much. So, yeah.
So, can you describe, if possible, what the worst game you've ever played is? Is that something you can do, or is that sometimes people don't like that question?
It's something I do regularly on stream. So it's almost like a meme at this point. So have you ever played a game called Dino Crisis, Johnny?
I need to play it. I still haven't played it. I know.
Oh, it's a fantastic game. It's a fantastic game. Dino Crisis 2 is fantastic as well. Dino Crisis 3,
oh yeah,
on the other hand, my dear Lord, that game deserves to die in the pits of hell. It is. It kind of. I didn't even realize it came out. It was one of those that kind of Capcom, I think, knew they'd screwed up and sort of just tried to release it under the radar, just to be like, okay, just get it out there. It was released on the OG Xbox back in the day, right. And I was already a fan of Dino Crisis 1 and 2 because it's pretty much Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs. And yeah, like Yuki knows, we don't talk about Dino Crisis 3. So they set the game in space, first of all, which, okay, they want to put dinosaurs in space. It has nothing to do with the original game. The story is very derivative. It's pretty much they've ripped off probably Event Horizon, I'd say, is probably the closest thing that they've ripped off on it. Like literally it is Event Horizon but with dinosaurs. It seems like it anyway, like kind of the base plot.
Jeez.
And the gameplay, oh my god, it is almost borderline unplayable. So you there's a lot of like action scenes in terms of, you have to fly around and shoot a lot of enemies at one time, but the camera angles are not your friend. The camera angles are horrendous. They'll just put you, so you're shooting stuff and the camera is facing your characters. You can't see what you're shooting, can't see how many things you're shooting at. And it also, with bad camera angles, includes platforming. So
what
it's the worst. It's like you're trying to do a platform and then the camera is kind of like underneath your character but like to a slant. It's just so bad. It's so bad. Like that's the worst experience I've ever had playing a game, and probably as well because it's Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis 1 and 2 were amazing. Dino Crisis 3 should have been amazing. They absolutely messed it up. And people are saying there's a lot of chat in the community around Dino Crisis should get a remake. Dino Crisis should get a remake, but I think they should remake Dino Crisis 3. Just forget about what they actually did release with Dino Crisis 3. Give us an actual true Dino Crisis sequel. Just decanonize, if that's a word, decanonize the original Dino Crisis 3 and bring us a new Dino Crisis 3, because that game, oh boy, yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to stream it, and yeah, that's gonna be a scary one. I'm gonna need a lot of neckets on stream for that.
Speaking of D-Cannon, here he is. Sorry.
Hey, T Cannon, baby. Dino
Oh,
Crisis is worthy of a remake. Yes, it is, my man. Absolutely.
that's crazy though, isn't it? Because again, I didn't even know there was a Dino Crisis 3, but I didn't have the original Xbox, so and people don't talk about it. Obviously now I know why, because
Yeah, a lot of people, so kind of when you chat about it, when I chat about it in stream, and just in general as well, to either people in work or to friends, um, they're like Dino Crisis. There's a Dino Crisis 3,
yeah,
and it was one of those situations where it was just out. I can't remember seeing any promotion stuff for it. Can't remember hearing about it. It was just, oh, it was in like the Argos catalog one year, and I was like, oh well, I might put that on my Christmas list, and I had it for Christmas, and I played it, and I was like, oh wow, really bad. And then as I sort of, when I looked on the internet then and checked the reviews, and you see then why. And Capcom knew that it was a really bad game, and that's probably why there was no promotion for it. That's probably why a lot of people don't know about the game. Capcom knew they screwed up.
yeah, it sounds like it. And but like you said, I mean, so many people want a Dino Crisis remake or a remaster or something now, but that obviously has derailed it completely, which is a shame, really. But I'm sure it will happen at some point.
Yeah, it should happen at some point. I'm pretty certain it will happen. I mean, Dino Crisis 3 killed the franchise. It literally just halted it right in its tracks. If Dino Crisis 3 had been semi-decent, with a decent promotional campaign behind it, we may have more Dino Crisis games now. I don't know whether it was like a financial hit to the company, or whether it was kind of like more of a side project, and hence why it's not, kind of hasn't got the love and care perhaps of the other ones. I don't know. But I think with the success of Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, and just survival horror in general at the moment, I think now is the best time more than any to give the fans a Dino Crisis remake. Fans are screaming out for it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So when you play games, do you like go for like achievements and trophies or anything like that, or is that not something that really comes into your way of playing games?
I go through phases, to be honest. There's been times like when I had the Xbox 360, and I remember the day I got the Xbox 360 and discovering this achievement system. I'd never heard of anything in my life. It was all completely new. I was like, whoa, this is like, you don't just beat the games anymore. You've actually got, tasks or, things to do that are sort of outside of the game. They're in the game, but they're sort of like things that you can tick off and complete as part of the an extra. So that was really appealing to me at the time. So I did get a bit addicted to achievement hunting back in the day. But then after Xbox 360, I moved on to PS4, just purely because I thought there was a better catalog of exclusive games with PlayStation at the time.
Yeah.
I probably have about 20 platinums. I think I go through phases again where I want a platinum every game I play, and then sometimes I just can't be bothered. I just play a game for fun. So for example, now that I have Steam has achievements.
Yes.
I've recently had a game in PC when I started streaming, so a game which I've platinumed on the PlayStation a few years back, Resident Evil Remake, also my favorite game. I'm now trying to get the achievements on Resident Evil Remake on the PC. So it does add a layer of fun, like kind of, it is an achievement. It is sort of something to aim for, something to strive for. And it does give you a sense of accomplishment at the end, but it's not something that I obsess over. I know there's a group on Facebook that I follow, that is around trophy hunters and platinum hunters. And the things you see in there are insane, like people with 600 plus platinums, and I'm like, wow, how do you find the time for any, with anything? Like, but
there are people who buy games just to platinum it, just to take it off the box, off the bucket list, should we say?
And buying games really cheap, or something really cheap, easy games, like a 99 pence game, because it's got like a 10-minute platinum or something like that. I'm like, God, I'm just gonna play Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play Resident Evil for the 100th time.
So if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only choose 3 games that you could play forever, what would they be?
Oh, right, that's a tough one.
And you can play
So
online, by the way. You can play
you
online.
can play online. Oh, that changes
It
things.
does, doesn't
Okay.
it?
So if I can play online, the only online game I like playing, I know I said I didn't like playing online, but the only online game I like playing is Fall Guys. I love a bit of Fall Guys, and I think
Me too.
that's fun. And it's a game that I feel like I can get better and better at, and they keep releasing more stuff for it. So as long as
Yeah.
I've got some sort of way of downloading the new updates, I'd be happy with Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
that is that's my absolute favorite Final Fantasy game. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the entire franchise. I never played Final Fantasy VII. I know. Shoot me now. Like I've never really got into
How
Final
dare
Fantasy
you? Right, we're
VII.
stopping the podcast. Let's go. No, no.
I get the same reaction every single time I say that. I played a little bit of Remake actually, but sorry, I didn't get into it. So I played. I love Final Fantasy X. That's my second favorite game of all time. It's got a beautiful story, beautiful soundtrack. It's a lot more to it than just finishing the game as well. There's a lot of side content and post game content. So I feel like that's a game I revisit quite often, which would probably be ideal if I was in a situation like that. And maybe Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. That's another big game, a game that you can get lost in, and so much to do, so many different ways to tackle the game. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could start the game and go straight to the final boss. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you get your ass handed to you because you have no items, no, equipment or anything like that. But there's people who do it, so it's one of those that I think would have replayability to it. But
Good.
before you said about playing online, I was probably just going to say like Resident Evil 2 OG or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I would say Resident Evil 1 Remake because it's my favorite, but I don't know, Resident Evil 2 OG would be for the lonely nights where I need to remember my childhood and remember those days where I was a scared little boy playing that terrifying game.
Yeah, it's really interesting your free games there because obviously we associate you as like a horror streamer, don't we? So it's fascinating, but it changes everything. Like you said, online play. Because a few people have asked that, and it's like, no, you got to have online. You got to have a LAN connection or broadband or maybe even AOL. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be when I was thinking straight away when you said that question, I was thinking, okay, desert island, we're gonna have no internet or anything, so single players. But yeah, I like. For the majority of my life, I've mainly played single player games, so that wouldn't bother me so much. So yeah.
So what made you consider streaming? What's brought you to this side of things?
Excuse me. I've always enjoyed talking about games. I've always been really passionate about games. If there's someone either at work or someone in real life who I find has got a similar interest to me with games, I just talk their ear off with it, and I get so passionate about it. I've always enjoyed watching video game content on YouTube, and even before YouTube, actually. So this is a throwback, but I don't remember whose house it was. I was over a friend's house, and his dad was playing Tomb Raider 2. It might be Tomb Raider 2 or 3, but he was actually, I don't know why, don't ask me why though, but he was actually recording his gameplay onto a VHS tape.
Okay.
And that fascinated me at the time.
Yeah.
And I asked him why he was doing that. He was like, I'm doing it for my friend who wants to play the game, and he's stuck on certain bits, so I'm playing through the game, and then he can find, if it's a section that he's stuck on, he can watch my playthrough and find the solution.
Wow.
So for me, thinking about it, that's kind of like the precursor to let's plays and walkthroughs on YouTube. I started watching a lot of YouTube back when I was in high school. My favorite channels were probably Cinemassacre. Well, it was called Angry Nintendo Nerd back then. So the Angry Video Game Nerd. I like John Tron. So I was getting into a lot of YouTube content creators who would sort of either riff games or sort of make a comedy, like make a sort of comedic, sarcastic approach to it. And that's kind of where I get a lot of my humor as well. And then I later got into certain streamers. One of my favorite streamers on YouTube is Neocranium. He does a lot of he does a lot of random stuff, but his more popular content is Resident Evil, and he's done some Fallout stuff as well. So, and he did Dead Space 2. He was actually one of my main inspirations to do Dead Space 2 hardcore.
Right.
So yeah, that can you can thank Neocranium for that. So yeah, and then It was always something that was on my mind, but I never really kind of had the confidence for it. I never thought I'd be any good or find enough things to say about games. And also, I'm not the most technically minded person either. So I got a lot of thanks to give to my mates for actually helping me set everything up because, like I said, I never had a PC. I've always been a console gamer for the majority of my life. So yeah, my good friend, you know him, One Big Beast.
Yeah, shout out for One Big Beast.
Shout out for One Big Beast. He's a great friend in real life. We met through work, and we've gone to a lot of concerts together. We're into very similar taste in music, and yeah, we just got on like a house on fire. Well, he had a YouTube channel previously, which he was uploading videos quite regularly, and he stopped for whatever reason. He just kind of either lost the passion for it or didn't have the time for it. And then during the pandemic, during lockdown, he started streaming. This was probably around February, March time. Probably around February, I think. And I was really fascinated by it. It was something that I thought it takes a lot of courage to do. It takes a lot of confidence to go and put yourself out there, especially like just the first time putting yourself out there and doing it. And it really impressed me how he just went and embraced it. And I would collab a lot with him where before I was streaming, we play Fall Guys together, or I'd be really active in his chat. So when he was playing Call of Duty or Rocket League when he first started, I don't play Call of Duty or Rocket League myself, but it was just nice sort of seeing him playing a game, doing something he was passionate about, and sharing that with other people. I think that's the most important thing, is sharing a passion with people and talking to like-minded people. And I went from there. I thought, right, One Big Beast has done it. I might give that a go. And it started off at first like, yeah, I'll give that a go, and then I'll wake up in the morning and think, no, I'm not going to give that a go. It's I haven't got the time, or I kept putting it off.
Yeah.
And in the end, I thought I'm just going to do it. So I ended up buying everything from scratch. I bought the PC, the monitors, the capture cards, everything, and just dove straight into it, and never looked back. To be honest,
yeah,
it was fantastic.
So, do you remember your first stream? What were you playing, and what was it like?
Yeah. So I got two examples because there is technically a first stream, but then there's an actual first stream. Okay. So my first stream was a test stream, which I intended to go on through my PS5, go on just to check my internet connection was okay, that I could actually stream games in general. I hadn't bought a PC, anything at this point. Just see what the connection's like, see if I can actually do this whole streaming thing. So I asked my my good friend Dracosine, he's one of my mods. Said, look, do me a favor. I'm going live on my channel now. Just see if it looks okay for me. Just see if it looks okay, if it sounds okay, if I sound okay, if you can hear me, and just give me some feedback. So I actually was playing Resident Evil 1 Remake. Surprise, surprise. But before I knew it, I don't know how. I can't actually remember how. But word got out, and actually quite a few people ended up coming in. And I say quite a few people. It was about 6 people. Which for me fried my absolute brain on the first stream, and it was the people who came in they actually comprise half of my mod team now.
Right, yeah, excellent.
So it was One Big Beast and a few other people who came in, and they just pretty much supported me and were just chatting to me as I was playing the game. I was shaking like an absolute leaf playing that, with knowing that I was broadcasting to people, talking to people. I had a headset. I didn't have the best. Did I have a headset on at the time? No, I didn't. I didn't have a headset when I was playing it. What I was doing was I was talking through the PS5 controller. The PS5 controller has a microphone. That's how ghetto it was. I was talking through the microphone on the PS5, and you were seeing the comments coming up on my TV, so it would come up on the screen. But I tell you what, the first time I saw that number change to 1 viewer, that was hell of an experience. That was just an experience that you just can't replicate. Is just seeing someone for the first time watching you play a game.
100%. So what were you doing before then? Before you saw that number turn to number 1, were you still chatting anyway, or were you just being quiet and playing the game? What were you doing?
No, literally just playing the game, being quiet, just waiting for my friend Jackson to come in. And then when he came in and that number changed, I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually doing this right now. And then before I knew it, other people were coming in and talking to me. I was like, oh my God. One of them was Wii U Sub, who's in the chat. And yeah, just it went from there. But that was my first sort of unofficial stream. My first proper stream, which I call it, was when I had everything set up. I had my camera, I had the microphone, the PC, the monitors, everything. And I think I'd done a few test streams just to see how it went. That stream, I was playing Fall Guys, so a nice game to just play with a few friends as well. So I felt a bit more comfortable, felt a bit more relaxed on stream, and it went really well. It was I think where I'd been talking about it on Facebook and stuff with my, with people I knew from, IRL. I think a few people came in out of curiosity and sort of came to say hello because they knew it was something I wanted to do. It's very memorable because that very first cam stream, I ended up getting follow botted twice.
Oh, really? Ah.
Yeah. So, I went from like 30 followers up to like 380 followers or something like that.
Oh, my word.
Which was strange for me because I wasn't expecting that. Like, it's a shock if it happens now as a kind of semi-experienced streamer now, but to happen on my first actual stream, I was like, okay, what's going on? The benefit that came from that was that Twitch registered that as I had hit my follower goal, so I was then offered affiliates not long after. So yeah,
Thanks,
cheers for that, follow bots. You did me a solid there.
Brilliant. So how did you come up with your username, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's actually the second username I've had. Only the first username that I've had in terms of
Sorry,
no, that's okay. You carry on, man. It's the second username I've had in terms of Twitch. So Snooky Shogun, it comprises half. It's my nickname, Snooky. Most people call me Snooky, and Shogun is actually the fourth album from my favorite band, Trivium.
Right.
It's called Shogun, it the song it's a self-titled song as well. So the final song on the album, Shogun, is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Before that, before I started streaming, I was Snooky 2020, and I was very I was going to stream using Snooky 2020. It's always been kind of my Xbox username, my PS5 username, PS4 username, ever since probably about the mid 2000s. And that based off a Green Day spin-off band called The Network, and they released an album called Money Money 2020, which I became obsessed with. It was an album and a track called Money Money 2020. So I kind of just named my my gamer tag and all other things like that Snooky 2020. But thinking, okay, yeah, this was back in 2003 or something, or 2004 or 5. Thinking, yeah, 2020 sounds all cool and futuristic. That sounds amazing. And then 2020 actually happened, and it was slightly underwhelming. And also, as well, it kind of seemed at that point then, even though I'd had that username for so long, it seemed that I had just kind of added the year onto the end of my name, like the year it created it, if you get what I mean. Exactly. Even though that wasn't the case. So it was due a change, it was due a rebrand, and I went through a lot of different names, but Shogun was the one that sort of grabbed me the most and stuck.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue really well. But it's funny you mentioned that, which just reminds me of all the rap albums of the early noughties, and they're like 2003 and all that stuff. It's like, oh man, no.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like, just going slightly off topic, this like films that have come out in the past where they're set in like the futuristic world of 2019. And you watch them, and it's like, oh, this is what 2019 is about. I'm pretty sure like The Running Man or something is set in like 2000 like 19, or it's a year that's gone by anyway. And I watch it, and like Back to the Future Part 2, I'm pretty sure that's like the futuristic part. That was like 2017 or something. I could be wrong, I might be a couple of years out.
Isn't the first Terminator, the date for the first Terminator coming up soon as well? I'm like, oh crud, I'm sure it is.
Oh wow, oh well, that's gonna be a fun one. But yeah, it's really funny when you see things like that, and films that probably didn't expect to still be known or sort of talked about 30-40 years later, and then the date actually comes about, and it's like, oh, this is what the future we envisioned was, and this is what it actually is.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather be in the film, to be honest.
Yes. So, do you have any like favorite stream memories or any like favorite streams that you've done? Anything that comes to mind?
Favorite stream memories. So I've had a lot of fantastic streams. I've met a lot of great people. Definitely the charity stream that we did, raising money for Mind. That was fantastic. Just to be included in something, just something for a great cause, and with 7 other great streamers. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, we'd had a few drinkies, we'd had a few games, and we'd had a bit of fun. That was good fun, and then things got a little bit crazy on my side, to say the least.
We were all so happy for you. It was so funny.
But I had like a few people come in from other streams, a few raiders, and then it got to a point then after we'd finished the charity stream where I was like, okay, I probably need to keep going for a bit longer because I've had all these raiders come in. But on the flip side of that, I have probably necked about 8 or 9 beers tonight. So I need to try and play a game competently with a shit ton of people watching me. So I ended up playing about like an hour of Resident Evil Remake, because that's my safe game. If I'm in a situation like that, and I think in an hour's gameplay, I probably achieved about 10 minutes worth of what I would normally achieve. So yeah, that was a highlight. But yeah, there's always big highlights. There's always like, you always remember your big, your first raid. The first time someone comes in and subscribes. It's like a recent highlight of mine was a Resident Evil marathon I did where I played the remakes.
Yes.
I did Remake 1, Remake 2 and 3 as well. And that was just a lot of fun. It was just so much fun being able to share, my passion for those games with other people, and you don't realize how many people out there love those games as well.
Yes.
It's very interesting to see, and it's just very wholesome as well, being able to just be unashamedly myself talking about games I like.
Absolutely. No, one of my favorite things about that stream of yours, obviously, is that because it was such a momentous occasion, you then decided to sing a certain song for us, didn't you?
Yes, and what song is that,
what?
Johnny Beard?
You mean the Llanfair Push Gwyngill Gocherek Drop of Santa Sera Goch song?
Yes, he's got it. Oh, that was perfect, man. That was music to my ears. That's become like a little bit of a regular thing on the channel now. People love it. People absolutely love it. It's a great time, man. And have I ever told you how that started?
No,
we've got time for you to tell you how that
started.
Do,
my friend. Yes, absolutely. Tell us away.
It was such a random thing. So I think I might be playing Silent Hill 2 or something like that, and some guy came into my stream, someone I'd never seen in my stream before, and I think he was Swedish or something. He didn't follow or anything. He just came in, was chatting, and he said, "Are you Welsh?" I was like, "Yes, I am Welsh." "Oh, so you know the long train station name?" I was like, "Well, you mean Llanfair Pwgwg Gogerich when Drobot Llanfasilio Go Go Go?" He was like, "Yeah, that's the one." He's like, have you heard the song?" I was like, "What song?" He's like, "Oh, there's a song of it." I was like, okay, so he put it in my link and we listened to it. He put it in my chat. We listened to it. I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. And the guy can actually sing really well. And then we were just like having such a laugh listening to it. I think we listened to it like 2 or 3 times. And then we raided someone and we got like another Welsh person. We got them to play it as well.
Oh, awesome.
It was Mindful Gamer. We raided after that. We got him to play it as well. And he was crying with laughter. So it was it was quite an experience. And then that guy came into my stream that one day. He disappeared off into the sunset. We never saw him again. I don't know if he knows the carnage he's created.
Clearly not.
Since that song, there was another song on there, another Welsh song. So yeah, we tend to crack them out now and again. It's a lot of fun, and I think people enjoy it. And going back actually to stream highlights, playing that song. And seeing all the people reacting with like the cat jams or like the emotes, and just seeing my chat feed just going crazy with everyone vibing to this great song. It just brought everyone together. It's nice. It's really nice.
100%. So you got to tell us about Neckit, which of course it's a certain song with Neckit as well that you like to play.
Yeah.
So where did Neckit come down? How did Neckit become redemption?
So Neckit was kind of, it started like, so this started way before I even started streaming or contemplated streaming. So during lockdown, we had a couple of my friends from work had a WhatsApp group where it would be, neck and nominate. I think that was a thing like
Oh
back.
yeah, I remember that now. You mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd have to like, drink a pint and then nominate someone else to do one. Well, we had the ones where you do them on Facebook or whatever social media, and nominate one person. But my friends being, the sort of friends they are, and me were like, yeah, doing it once isn't enough. So we had an entire WhatsApp group dedicated to necking beers and nominating someone else in the group chat to do it. And that went on pretty much most of the pandemic. And it then fizzled out a bit. It was just always like a very fond memory that stays with me. And
Yeah.
I thought, I thought I could introduce something quite fun to do with that in the stream. And I didn't expect for a moment that it would be, as popular as it was. But people seem to enjoy it. So, I am conscious around like sort of some of the, like the Twitch sort of rules and guidance around it. So I only have one redemption per stream. And it's probably, if the stream were to gain any more momentum, and get any bigger, then I'd have to take, have a serious think about, what I do around that. But for the time being, I'm just enjoying it. We get a nice cold beer, we chuck on some Doom Eternal heavy metal,
Yeah.
and we neck.
Nice.
It's great fun.
So just what I'll say before I ask the final question, if anyone wants to ask Snooky any questions, probably now's the time to mention it, because we'll mention it after the final question. So, but the final question for me, Snooky, is what advice would you give to anyone thinking about streaming?
So, I think for me, the advice that I probably could have done with before I started streaming was don't try and tailor your personality. Don't try and tailor your content. Do what's right for you. There will be people who will want to come to your stream, will want to watch your content for you. So that goes back to where I when I first found Twitch, I got into the Resident Evil speedrunning community. So I enjoyed watching Bokba Soup, Orshlon, Wolf DNC. Those are the people I used to watch regularly before I started, meeting people within the wider community. And my thought process was, okay, if I'm going to go into Twitch, and especially if I'm going to want to play some Resident Evil, I need to speedrun it. That's because that's all I'd seen, really.
Yeah.
But I realized I don't like speedrunning. I don't like. I feel I don't like time limits. I kind of want to go in and enjoy a game. I'll do a fast run. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not out here to break world records. I'm not out here to have like a split on the screen that tells me, what my previous room split was. It's just not me. So when I started streaming, I was pretty competent at Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 remakes, so I could get through them pretty quickly. So I was playing them, skipping the cutscenes, just playing them from start to finish, and I thought that was what good streaming was. That's just my naivety, thinking that's what good streaming was. I started playing then afterwards Resident Evil 0, which I'm not as familiar with, and it's probably not quite as good a speed game. And I just didn't have the fun I was expecting, because I felt under pressure. I felt that, I was letting people down. So I had to have a really good think to myself, thinking, well, actually, why am I doing this? People are here actually enjoying, like, chatting with me and just enjoying, like, sort of being, they're not here to watch me beat a game as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And that's not really what I need to be about. So I kind of changed my outlook a bit on it. And yeah, just so, yeah, the whole overall message from that is just make the content that you want, play the games that you want, how you want to play them. By all means, if you feel like a game is going to be more popular, that with your viewers than another game, feel free to tailor the games you play, but don't make yourself miserable out of it. Don't compromise, because that'll just that the viewers will be able to tell a mile off if you're having fun or not. And then I guess the cliche one, just be yourself and have fun. But yeah, that would be the biggest thing for me. Just be absolutely uncompromisingly you.
Yeah, brilliant advice. It's as cliche as it is, mate. It's true because again, it's one thing that I've started to learn about myself, I suppose, as well as a streamer, is that people do people can view a game anywhere, but they can because they like your personality. They like how you pop off screen. You in your own way. It's great. And that's why people are attracted to you, not just because of this handsome face, but also because of this. You're such a great guy, and people like that about you. So.
Yeah, I get what you mean. When you think about it, like there's so many people playing the same games, on Twitch. So if someone wants to go and watch a speedrun, there's so many speedrunners out there. If someone wants to watch an ASMR stream where someone's like licking a microphone, I mean, depends how much they pay me, but but there's something for everyone. And I mean, I'll go in, I'll have a good time, I'll have a banter and a chat with everyone, and just have a good time, really. And that seems to be working pretty well for me at the moment.
100%. Right, we've got any questions on here? So we got my questions are not appropriate for stream, says Yuki.
Yuki will most likely drop that in the voice chat, more than likely, knowing him. I can't wait, Yuki. That sounds like a good time.
Was it Tim Panic 7, is it? Snooky, what's your favourite non-gaming hobby?
Favorite non-gaming hobby? So this is the thing. I go through like a lot of different phases. So I was actually really addicted to going to the gym probably before the Christmas lockdown. That was one of my biggest hobbies. I actually was really into fitness, really into running, training, pretty much most days. And then lockdown happened, and I just got lazy. So in terms of, I love movies. Always been a bit of a big, massive movie fan, particularly horror movies. But I'll watch anything from pretty much any genre from any era. I've got you can't really see in my backdrop, but I got shelves over here which are completely full of movies. Above my curtains, it's just all full of Blu-rays. Big movie guy. I love going to the cinema. That's pretty much it, really. And I enjoy a pint if you guys didn't already know.
What?
I enjoy the odd pint down the pub. Maybe not so much during lockdown again, but
Yuki, if I want to be a warhog, is that is that like Pumbaa? It's like they're doing.
Is that like Pumbaa?
Is that
or if I want to be a warthog? Well, you know what I'd do with you, Yuki, if you were a warthog, and I can't say that on stream either.
Gemma, Jinx, if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh God. You know what? I'm sure I've been asked this before, and I can never think of an answer. Probably I've thought about this before. Just being able to maybe stop time. Remember Bernard's Watch? Do you ever watch that? It was a series where, just be able to stop time so I can actually, sometimes I feel there's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
And if I could just have a bit of time where I could stop the watch and, for 3 hours or something, I could just chill and relax. And I like napping a lot. I don't know if many people know that. Probably a lot of people in my community know that I love napping a lot. Yeah, just stop the watch and get more hours in the day.
When's
That's probably a stop time. The live napping. Live napping ASMR.
We've got a favourite book of all time by Tim Panic 7.
Favorite book of all time. I used to read loads of books when I was younger. I don't read them so much anymore now. I used to love The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Used to love those books. And when I was a bit younger, I used to enjoy reading Artemis Fowl, Series of Unfortunate Events. As I was getting a bit older, I got into a bit of Stephen King. So I do like The Shining. Shining is a very good book. I do like the film as well. That's one of my favorite films. Which is strange because a lot of people are quite divisive over the book and the movie of The Shining because they're very different. But yeah, I'd say probably The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit.
Great shouts. Hey, Ludacris, we got Ludacris in chat. We got Legend in chat. He is asking, what is your favorite type of music?
Favorite type of music, heavy metal, metalcore, deathcore, just anything heavy. I'm wearing a nice 9 Kills t-shirt right now. I like anything that's I can go to a concert and jump in a mosh pit with. Love all that stuff. My favorite band is Trivium. My second favorite band is probably August Burns Red, and then Currents is my third favorite, which I've all seen live. I do like a lot of pop punk as well. So I grew up listening to, this is like the two sides of the spectrum. I grew up listening to heavy metal, which I probably got from my dad because he brought me up listening to Metallica, Iron Maiden, Motorhead. I listened to a lot of Thin Lizzy as well. Like I like a lot of classic rock, and then that kind of expanded into my own sort of tastes. Then where I branched off and listened to a lot of metalcore, and then I also really like pop punk because I suppose my dad got me into the Ramones and the Sex Pistols as well. So yeah, Blink-182, The Offspring, Yellowcard, one of my favorite bands. But then at the same time, I from my mum's side, I guess, I love a lot of Motown. Listen to a lot of Motown, and if anything sounds good on the radio as well, I'll listen. I'm not one of those like I'll only listen to heavy metal music. I won't listen to pop. I listen to a bit of everything.
100%. And Yuki's got another question there. Favorite beverage besides water and beer?
Besides water and beer, Jesus.
I like Ramstein, Yuki.
I tend to have a Pepsi Max on hand sometimes if I'm feeling like I'm not I'm tired of the beer and the naughty water and the water. But this I've never been much of a. Usually, that's all I drink. Actually, is water and beer. That's quite disturbing. That's quite that's quite worrying. Actually, I do have Pepsi Max now and again.
And this is the second half of the chat. We'll talk about the intervention.
Yes. We'll talk about. My name is Snooky, and I have an addiction.
Oh, brilliant! Right, I think that's it, my friend. That was brilliant.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for doing it, and doing it live was a lot of fun as well. So
hey, Johnny, no problem, my man. It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. It's just it's nice being able to chill with your chat, and look at that beautiful face for an hour.
Oh, wow.
Look at that beautiful face. I just want to come up to you and just squish you.
Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
I just want to squish you. Oh. Believe me, guys, I am squishing his face right now.
I'm sure we've got a lot of Snooky's community here, but if you're not a part of it, then why are you not a part of it? Go and give that beautiful man a follow. Thank
you so much, man.
I think we're both actually streaming. You're streaming now, aren't you?
I will be streaming shortly. I'll have a quick break, and then I will be jumping into some Resident Evil Remake.
Hey, look at that!
Yay!
So I'm actually going to have a quick break myself as well, guys. So I'll be stopping and then starting as well. But give this beautiful man a follow. Go and check him out if you want to watch some Resident Evil, or stick with me if you want to play some community games. So you got a choice. You're spoiled, guys. You're spoiled.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to me rant and rave for an hour. I appreciate that.
Hashtag Snooky for partner. I agree.
Oh my God, Yuki for partner.
Right, guys. I'm gonna have 5 minutes and then I'll be back. But I'll see you in a minute.